Hey, Orchinistas, fellow orchid lovers and orchid enthusiasts like I am. Welcome to the channel Forever Orchids. My name is Tracy, and I have a very, very special occasion that today I'm going to show you how to make an orchid corsage. And we're going to do it a little modern and a little 1950s. And so I have a mother-in-law who will be turning 90 years old. And in 1953, when she got married, 70 years ago, she wore a very large white Cattleya orchid. So let me show you the picture of my in-laws' wedding. And you can see the orchid on her lapel. And I'm going to show you how to make this today. To start with the orchid. And here it is. I've already cut it off of the plant. I was volunteering yesterday, and one of the places had a white Cattleya in bloom. This is Cattleya trianae. This is a species, and I'll put up on the screen what this cultivar name is for this particular plant. This does have an FCC from the American Orchid Society, and it's the alba form of the trianae and the white. So I asked them, would it be okay if I cut the flower so that I can make a corsage for my mother-in-law for her 90th birthday? So I've put it in a vial of water and kept it overnight so far. So we need that. And then we need some floral wire that will go through the orchid, some ribbon to make a bow, some pipe cleaners, because as you remember seeing in that picture from 1953, there were like some hearts made out of white pipe cleaners that was in the corsage. So we're going to make those. And then to modernize it just a little bit, and I think to really add some color to the corsage, and it will also bring out the yellow that's in the lip of the orchid. This is a cuba. This is a plant that is a bush that's growing in the backyard here where I live. And so I just went out and cut some sprigs of it, and I'm going to use some of these in the corsage. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is the pipe cleaners. And let's get started making those. Oh, and the other thing we need is also some floral wire tape. It comes in green or white, and since we've primarily got white pipe cleaners, white orchid, white ribbon, I'm going to be using the white floral tape. So to start with, for the pipe cleaner little hearts, I just have what is this, probably a 12-inch chenille stem, and I'm just going to fold it in half and twist the ends together so that I've got a loop. And so it looks like a little rabbit ear. So now what I'm going to do is, instead of going, you can certainly go in the center if you want to, but I'm going to offset my little heart shape. And I'm just going to bend it down, smooth it out. And there we go. So that's easy peasy. Easy, easy, easy. So I'm going to make 3 of these. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them together. So this will be on the side of the corsage. And the only thing I had laying around, I didn't have any of the actual floral wire that's used in corsages. So I just used the green wire that we all are probably familiar with, that we use to stake our orchids with. Just get this from the Garden Supply Center. So I had some laying around, so I used that and put all 3 of my little separate hearts, wired them together. I took one like this, made the other 2, and went along up in here and wired the other 2 so that I could have more of a little fan shape. And then I'm just going to cover this in some white tape. And this stuff is pretty sticky. So if you pull it just a little bit, it will actually stick to itself. And I'm just going to cover up. I'll go ahead and cut off a piece here. I'm just going to cover the green tape of wire that I used so that you won't see that. And I'll just make this a little bit nicer looking. It will also, any edges of the wire that might be poking through, you can kind of cover those up as well. And I'm just twisting it around just enough to cover up that green wire, and then also to give myself more of a substantial stem so that I can then wire all the pieces together to form my finished corsage. Okay, and that's all we need to do with that. Just cover that up right there, and that is ready. Now, this stuff is really, really sticky. So just be aware of that. Wash your hands. Okay, and we'll do the same thing with the Akuba. So I'm going to cut off the stem here, cut off these extra leaves. I don't think I might want to use these actually. I have to figure out how I want to do this. So we have our flower, and see how nice that's going to look together. So I want to decide how many leaves I actually want and how I want to actually do this. And I think this stem right here is long enough that I'll be able to tape it and wire it up. Okay, so I've got some pieces there. Now, the next thing we're going to do is make a bow. And I have a finished one here. And I'm going to show you real quick how to make this. How to make a bow. So we'll want to start with, now this is wire edged or organza ribbon, and it is, this particular one happens to be 5/8 of an inch wide. Just pick whatever you want. To make my bows, I always start with the center button. And the center button is just that very center loop that you'll see in the middle of a lot of bows. And based upon how big you're going to make your bow, that's how big you want to think about starting your button. For the corsage, the easiest thing to do is just grab the tail here, wrap this around your thumb, and now we have created our little button right here. And I'm going to keep my thumb around the center here, and I'm going to take this tail here and create my first loop of the bow. Think about how wide you want the bow, and I'm going to twist the ribbon under my thumb, create my first bow loop, bring it back under my thumb, twist again, okay, and then I'm going to twist it again, and I want this loop and this loop to be the same size. Bring your ribbon back under, twist again here under the button, and start my next loop. Twist in the center and start our next loop. Twist in the center. We'll make a 6-loop bow here. Twist again in the center and come back around. Now at the moment, that is 3 loops here, 3 loops here. That would be a 6-loop bow. If you decide when you're making this that you don't feel like that is enough fluff, enough ruffle, do it again. Twist in the back. Make sure I twisted this one. I think I did. Create a loop, bring it around to the back, twist it, and loop again. Okay, I'm going to cut some of this tail here off. Now what we're going to do is take our wire. Now since I didn't have any proper floral wire, I'm going to use the green wire because we're going to end up covering it up with the white floral tape. Okay, and I'm just going to bring it in the center of our button, bring it around to the back here, and twist. Now to get it good and tight, now I can let go of my thumb that was in the button, and I'm going to bring all of our loops together so that now I can twist really tightly. I do it about 3 or 4 times under that, pulling it, tightening it up. Okay, now here is our bow. And the great thing about the wire edge here is we can decide how we want our loops to be. And because we've twisted them, and actually I'm going to pull this a little bit more. It's not quite tight enough. I've still got a gap right here. So I'm going to twist it tighter again. Okay. And then here's our center button. The great thing about the wire edged ribbon is, and because you've twisted it, you can now pull out your loops here, fluff up your bow, and then wire edged means you can just shape these. You can leave them flat if you want to. You can fluff them, make them a lot more rounded. Pull them, alternating loops, pull in different directions to make your bow a little bit more fuller. And then your tail here, you can cut it at an angle so it won't fray, or you can fold your ribbon in half and cut it at an angle. And you've also, if you've got some loops here that aren't quite even, you can pull gently and even them out. Okay, and then we're just going to take our floral tape here, cut some of it off, and just start wrapping it around our back here so that we can now have a white stem that we will put into our corsage. And that's how we make a bow. So we've made our bow now, and we've got our pipe cleaners together, and we've got some Akuba. Figure out which ones we want. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is take our orchid stem out of the vial, and I'm going to take very thin gauged wire, and I'm going to run it through the back here of our flower, and we're just going to poke it through the center of that stem and push it all the way through. My hands are so sticky from that floral tape here. I'm just taking my time here, getting it pushed through. Alrighty, we've come now all the way through on the other side here. Okay, so I'm going to just pull it now to where I now have the orchid in the middle of the two stems of the wire. And I'm going to fold down our wire here. Okay, now this breaks my heart to have to do this, but we really need to cut the orchid stem here. The way this particular orchid is, I couldn't have, watch my lapel, I couldn't use the stem and put the orchid up here because now the presentation of the flower is like this. And that's not very pleasing. We really want the presentation of the flower to be like this on the lapel. So I'm going to have to cut the stem. Whoop. And now I have wire here that I'm going to twist. And then we're going to take our floral tape and wrap it around the base of the stem of the flower. And when you do this, you pull ever so gently on the actual tape so that it'll stick to itself. I'm just kind of building up the stem here too. But now with the wire wrapped in there, as I do a better job with the tape, I'll be able to take this flower stem now and have it pointed more down like a corsage. Okay, then the next thing we're ready to do is assemble the corsage. What I decided to do with the orchid here is just feed it through the pipe cleaners, the chenille stems, I should say, to help get it in position. Figure out my placement here. Okay, and then here's the akuba, and I went ahead and wrapped it with some of the white tape, and I'm going to put that under the flower, kind of a little bit over to the side. I want those leaves to be over to the side. This is really hard to do so that you can see what I'm doing. Very difficult. Because I want to make sure that as I'm looking at it, that the orchid, and now this is upside down for you guys, but that the orchid is the center and the focal of the corsage. I really wanted the chenille stems to be over to the side and kind of at an angle, and I'm going to put the leaves down here so that I've got a little bit of an offset angle going on. That's what I'm going to attempt. The akuba is not really wanting to cooperate. Then I will get my bow here and put it under. I want it under that little, I wanted it under that petal, under the petal and the sepal here. A little bit down low, little offset. See how I like it? This piece of akuba is not quite cooperating with really the way I want it to give it the good effect that I'm trying to go for here. I haven't taped everything up yet. And this might not be the piece of akuba that I want to use. So to me, this gives it a little bit of a modern twist. If I go more at an angle with the pipe cleaners over here, and we've got an angle that we're creating with the akuba. Akuba is not used in a lot of traditional corsages, and so I love using it whenever I can in my floral arrangements. And to me, this just gives a little bit, I'm going to say modern, a little bit contemporary. We've got here the chenille pipe cleaners that are reminiscent of the 1950s. So this is ultimately the way I would like the corsage to look. I just, in my hands, have to get each of the stems here on the back all lined up together so that I can take the floral tape and wrap all of our stems together to finish off the corsage. So that's what I'm attempting to do right now. And I'm going to turn it this way so I can see what I'm doing. keep working with it. And then I'm going to show you the finished when I get done, what it looks like. Okay, I did finish it here, and I went ahead and all of the stems that we have left all the way down, I just put them all together, and I don't know if you can see this. Let's turn around the back here, and you can see that I just did a little curlicue here with it. So I've done the best I can. It's a little cockeyed here. The orchid itself just keeps on twisting on me. Kind of won't stay upright, but the more I mess with it, I'm going to end up bruising it. So this is what the corsage will end up looking like on the lapel. Should go like this, I guess. Or it might go this way, ever how it's pinned on her. So with the materials that I had, it's not perfect. It's the best I could do. I do wish that the orchid just had a little bit better presentation. I should have picked one of the flowers that the stem actually came and arched a little bit more. This orchid here, the stem had just come out straight. And if the flower itself had that little arch right from the stem, then the presentation of the flower would be a little bit better. And I think I could have manipulated my wire when I put it in. Until next time, guys, happy orchid growing. Bye.